Welcome to the ATA Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Baird, and you're listening to episode 23. Each month on the podcast, we bring you news and insights from the American Translators Association. This month, we're bringing you the ATA Halftime Show. In just a few moments, I'll be handing over the mic to ATA President Corinne McKay and ATA President-elect Ted Wozniak. They're going to bring you up to speed on the first half of 2018 and look ahead to the rest of the year. You're going to hear about new developments in the ATA certification program, a brand new ATA division, how ATA has been representing your interests at conferences and events, and much more. So stay with us. But first, a few quick announcements.
New Orleans, here we come. This year's ATA Annual Conference will be held in New Orleans, Louisiana, from October 24th to 27th. You'll find the program in the July-August issue of the ATA Chronicle. First, take a minute to check out this year's sessions. There are more than 170 of them. Then, start planning your conference schedule, from the welcome reception and exhibit hall to the job fair and brainstorm networking. Everything you'll want to do and see is in the program. Online registration opens at the end of July. And while you're thinking about the conference, go ahead and book your room at the New Orleans Marriott, this year's conference hotel. The number of rooms reserved at discount for attendees is limited. Once these rooms are booked, the discounts end. Don't miss the savings. Make your reservation today. Look for details in the conference program and the ATA website. Finally, we have a reminder about the ATA logo. No, not the association logo. We're talking about the logo designed exclusively for ATA members. Use it on your business cards and website to instantly increase your visibility with clients. Free to members. You only have to ask. Search for logo usage on the homepage of the ATA website.
Now over to Corinne and Ted. Take it away, guys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 American Translators Association Halftime Show podcast. This is ATA President Corinne McKay.
And this is ATA President-elect and Conference Organizer Ted Wozniak. Thanks for joining us.
So today, while our Dynamo podcast host, Matt Baird, is off on a well-deserved vacation, we're going to give you an overview of what's been going on in ATA for the last 6 months and what is on tap for the rest of the year. And as always, we want to tell all 10,000 plus of you how much we appreciate you being ATA members and supporting our association. So Ted, I thought we could dive right in with an update on a topic that everybody loves to hear about, our upcoming 59th Annual Conference, for which you are not only the organizer, but it will be held in your hometown, beautiful New Orleans, Louisiana, which unless you don't like to have fun, I don't know how you could not have a good time there. And that'll be at the end of October. So how about if you give us a preview of how the plans are going and what our attendees can look forward to this year?
Thanks, Corinne. The sessions have all been scheduled, and everybody should have gotten their, presenters should have gotten their email notification of when their session's scheduled to be given. And it looks like it's going to be another great annual conference. We're going to have more than 170 sessions and about 26 different tracks. And the Advanced Training Day sessions also look great as well. I really encourage folks to take a hard look at the AST offerings this year and come in early and get some really in-depth hands-on training. Many of the sessions will be recorded as part of the virtual conference if you can't make it to the conference in person. If you want to see what those are like, you can go to the ATA's YouTube channel and see the free sessions from last year's virtual conference. Everyone who attends the conference will get free access to the virtual conference, and those of you who can attend will be able to buy the virtual conference when it's ready sometime later after it's over. If you want to promote the conference, I would encourage you to go to the ATA website and download the clickable button that you can put on your website or your blog. Even if you're not attending, you can still help us promote the conference, which will be good for our profession. I can't encourage it enough to come to New Orleans. It's a great town. If you can't, find a decent meal and have fun, in New Orleans, there's something seriously wrong. So come on down to New Orleans and let the good times roll.
Yeah, and I'll just add that Ted and I and our professional development manager, Adrian Alekna, went in January to visit the host hotel for the conference, and it is beautiful. I believe Adrian described it as a meeting planner's dream. For example, we have a whole ballroom for breakfast, and then you walk about 10 steps across the hallway and the meeting room where we'll have the opening session and the election session and things like that are right there. It's on the same side of the main street as the French Quarter, so you don't even have to cross the road. And Ted also has lots of ideas for you of things to do outside the French Quarter. And I will say, for those of you who might be on the fence about coming, I am not a bar type party person at all, and I had such a good time in New Orleans. Ted and I went for beignets. we went to a restaurant where Ted was able to get wild boar and I was able to get a vegan curry. I was in heaven. It was wonderful. So just I know Ted has said this before, but if you think that New Orleans is just like the bars on Bourbon Street, it's not. There's so much more to it for history and culture and music and food and people watching and really anything you like to do. So that is October 24th through 27th. And as Ted said, we really hope that you will join us the day before the conference. So on Wednesday for Advanced Skills and Training Day, where you can get your high-level hands-on training. And if you are attending the conference, one thing you might want to do while you're there is take the ATA certification exam if you are not yet certified, or if there is an additional language combination in which you would like to be certified. You can take the exam without attending the conference. You can come and just take the exam, but it's a lot more fun to come to the conference in addition to taking the exam. So we wanted to remind everyone of a few items related to the certification program for those who are interested. First, note that the price of the exam is going to increase from $300 to $525 on January 1st of 2019. So if you've been putting off taking the exam, this year would be a great time to do that. Additionally, thanks to the hard work of volunteers within the certification program, we have 2 new language combinations for you this year, which are traditional and simplified Chinese into English and English into Arabic.
I'll also add there will be at least 2 exam sittings at the conference, possibly 3. We're working on trying to find some space for a Sunday session as well.
Great.
And also for our certified members, we wanted to let you know that in addition to the ATA Certified Translator, the CT seal, which you can download from the ATA website and add that to any of your certified translations, we also have a new certified member logo that you can use on your website, or I'll put it on your business card. That doesn't replace the CT seal for your translations, but it's a graphic logo for advertising purposes, for your email, LinkedIn profile, resumes, things like that. You can get the Certified Translator logo by writing to Mary David at headquarters. Her email address is pretty easy. It's mary@atanet.org. That's mary@atanet.org. And she says it would be nice if you would put Certified Translator logo request in the subject line, but you don't have to. But what you must do in order to make her life as simple as possible and not to slow things down is please include your ATA membership number in your email. So if you want to get that logo, send an email to Mary David, include your ATA membership number, and Mary will get that logo to you as soon as she can. Another development on the certification front is that the ATA Board of Directors has approved opening the certification exam to non-members, what we call decoupling. To date, only ATA members have been able to take the exam, and you had to remain a member of ATA in order to keep your certification status. At some point in the future, right now we're looking at a target date of January 1, 2020. That will no longer be the case, and anyone will be able to take the exam and become an ATA certified translator, provided they pass the exam, of course.
Right.
So stay tuned for more developments on that front. Corinne?
Great. Yeah. So moving on to a new topic, we wanted to let you know what ATA has been doing in terms of outreach and advocacy for the language professions. Many of you already know that we held a very successful advocacy day at our 2017 conference in Washington, D.C., and that was organized in conjunction with the Joint National Committee for Languages, known as JNCL, which is the language advocacy and lobbying organization that ATA belongs to. So we had 50 ATA members participate in that event. It sold out, where JNCL arranged meetings with our members, senators, and representatives, staffers. And in some cases, the ATA members got to meet the actual senators and representatives and talk to them about issues that are important to the language professions. So we have kept that ball rolling by making sure that ATA's voice is heard in the media, by other associations, and by government officials. So we wanted to give you a few examples of what we've been doing there. So our public relations writers group produces one article just about every month. So this is ATA members who are part of the Public Relations Committee and its specific subcommittee called the Writers Group. So those are articles that are aimed at the business community, so outside the translation industry, at people who may use the services of translators and interpreters. So the PR Writers Group creates those articles, and they are then pitched to various media outlets by our external public relations firm, which is called PR. So they've covered topics like automation doesn't solve everything, which was written by past ATA President Caitlin Walsh, 5 tips for taking your business global, written by Ann Connor, and The High Cost of Cheap Translation, written by Stephanie Tramdat-Cash, a much-loved ATA member who sadly has since passed away. These articles are picked up by publications like Home Business Magazine, The Cutting Edge, Windsor Business Journal, Smart Business, and the Business Opportunities Handbook, and many others. We've gotten great feedback on them so far, and if you attended the ATA conference, you might have seen hard copy versions of some of those printed on big posters in the registration area.
We've also been making an effort to get ATA's name out there and build relationships with other translating and interpreting organizations. For example, I represented ATA at the annual conference of the Association of Language Companies in Phoenix, Arizona, a couple of months ago. Everyone that I talked to at the ALC conference was very pleased that ATA had a presence there, and we're looking forward to find some areas where ATA and ALC can work together for the benefit of all of our members. In addition, directors Melinda Gonzalez-Hibner and Christina Helmrichs represented ATA at the recent conference of NAJIT, the National Association of Judiciary Interpreters and Translators in San Francisco. Director Madalena Sanchez-Zampalo traveled to Porto, Portugal, to represent ATA at the conference of APOTRAD, the Portuguese Translators Association, where she spoke on a panel about the future of the translation and interpreting professions. And just so you think, this is not just directors and officers doing all this. We have Jos Jetske, who many of you may know as a translation technology guru and the author of the Geek Speak column in the ATA Chronicle, gave a very well-received presentation to the ILR, the Interagency Language Roundtable. That's a group for government entities that have language service units. Jos talks about machine translation, how it works, and what it can and cannot do. And we got great feedback on his talk. Director Elena Langdon represented ATA at the membership meeting of the National Council on Interpreting in Healthcare, a group of entities involved in medical interpreting. Lucy Gunderson, who is the chair of our divisions committee, and a Russian to English translator specializing in human rights translation, represented ATA at a very interesting event at the United Nations headquarters in New York City on protecting translators and interpreters who work in conflict zones and war-torn areas. This event was sponsored by Belarus's mission to the United Nations, and we were invited to participate by Red T, who some of you may know is an organization that advocates for the protection of translators and interpreters. We'd like to thank Red T for inviting us to that event. So those are some of the things that ATA has been doing to reach out to other T&I organizations. And we hope to be sending ATA representatives to various industry conferences this summer and fall. And we'll keep you updated on those.
So to wrap up, we wanted to let you know a little bit what's on the horizon for the rest of 2018 and into 2019. You may have noticed that based on requests from members, and because we now have a new full-time professional development manager, Adrian Alekna, and if anyone is concerned about our past meeting planner, Teresa Kelly, don't worry, she still works for ATA, but just in a different capacity as graphic designer and website manager. So under Adrian's leadership, we have revived the idea of having in-person events other than the conference. The first one was held in January in Boston, and that was a sold-out preparation workshop for the ATA certification exam, with one session for English into Spanish translators and one for all languages into English. So currently, we're planning to hold at least one and possibly two more of those in-person certification prep sessions in the next 6 months, and perhaps an in-person professional development seminar for legal translators and court interpreters in early 2019 as well, although we don't have details on that just yet, so we'll tell you in a future podcast.
And we also wanted to give a shout out to our newest division, the Law Division. Congratulations to them and all the volunteers that worked hard to get that off the ground on achieving this major milestone of proposing a division and being approved by the board. And we're excited to add them to our roster of now 20 divisions.
Great. So thank you everyone for joining us for this halftime update. And we'll look forward to having you join us for a future episode when our usual host, Matt Baird, returns from vacation. And we will put links for you in the show notes of a number of the things that we talked about. And always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, you can reach me at president@atanet.org. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Episode 23 was produced by Corinne, Ted, and me, with support from Mary David, ATA Assistant Executive Director for Membership and Communications. Technical and web support was provided by Rashawn Paccarel, ATA Assistant Executive Director for IT and Operations. Mixing and editing was done by Human Factor Media, and the music you heard today was from bensound.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other podcasting apps. That way you'll be the first to know when a new episode comes out. Otherwise, keep an eye out for the ATA news briefs or follow ATA on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and you'll find out about new episodes. If you listen to us on an app, please leave a review if you can. That helps spread the word about the podcast. There's a lot of valuable information in our past episodes for both new and longtime members. Let's make sure everyone knows about it. You can also find previous episodes of the ATA podcast on ATA's website, atanet.org, under Resources. If you have any comments or suggestions for me, please write to me anytime at podcast@atanet.org. Who knows? Your suggestion just might be the next ATA podcast. Coming up soon on the podcast, we're going to preview ATA's next annual conference, ATA59 in New Orleans this coming October. We'll also be talking to the candidates for the 2018 elections, so stay tuned. Thanks for listening in, everyone. Talk to you again next month.